So with the 2024 NFL draft coming up, I thought to myself, well, why don't I create a mock draft video for my favorite team, the Pittsburgh Steelers? Now, of course, with mock drafts, you can never take them 100% seriously because things always change. They're never really accurate, and you never know what these teams are going to do. But I went ahead and went and used one of the mock draft simulators and did a mock draft for the Steelers. So, yeah, let's see what happened. So in 2024, the Steelers obviously added some new talent on the team. Um, Lots of new changes. Russell Wilson, clearly. Justin Fields, Patrick Queen, Dante Jackson, Cordero Patterson. Those are just a few of the new additions. A lot of other guys we've got as well. Deshaun Elliott, safety out of Miami. So we've made some additions to fill our needs before the draft, but we've also made some subtractions as well. The two most notable departures this season have to be Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph. Now, we all know the Kenny Pickett story, former first-round quarterback drafted 2 seasons ago. And I think we all wanted Kenny to do well, but it just did not work out. They obviously brought in Russell Wilson. Kenny wasn't too happy with that. So they shipped him off to Philadelphia. Second notable departure is obviously Mason Rudolph, former backup quarterback for the Steelers for at least, I think, 6 seasons. But he ultimately waited his turn and was able to start the last 4 games of the season where he went 3-1 and ultimately put this team in the playoffs. But now he's headed out to Tennessee. But I think a lot of us wanted Mason to come back. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But all the best wishes to him. We also lost right tackle Chuks Okorafor. Now, Chuks was starting last season, but with the addition of Broderick Jones, it was only, time before we would see our first round tackle get some playing time. The rest is history. We also let go of Mason Cole, our starting center. Now, Cole was good his first year in Pittsburgh, but ultimately Cole did not have a great season this year. A lot of the snaps would end up low. He wasn't great in run blocks. So, yeah, they let go of Cole. And lastly, Deontay Johnson. I think the story is a little bit different with him. He's been productive most of his time in Pittsburgh, but when you don't get good quarterback play, as a receiver, you're ultimately not going to put up great numbers. And I think he was, maybe tired of, the situation going on with Kenny and Mason and Mitch. But ultimately, they traded him to Carolina for Dante Jackson. So we swapped DJ for DJ. But all the best wishes to these guys down there. They were all, former Steelers, and they were all servants to the franchise. So with that being said, we obviously have some, team needs we need to fill in this draft. Obviously a center with the release of Mason Cole. I think we do need a new younger tackle to play alongside Broderick Jones on that right side. Now we do have Dan Moore on the left, but Broderick is a left tackle, so they will look to move Broderick to the left. Can Dan Moore play right tackle? I'm not sure, but we can always get a new younger tackle in this draft. Obviously, with Deontay Johnson leaving, we need a new wide receiver to play alongside George Pickens. I do personally think we need some more D-line help with Cam Hayward being injured last season. Ogunjobi didn't have a great season. Now, we did have Keanu Benton, the rookie, but I do think we could use another fresh D-line to just learn under Cam Hayward. Now, I do think we could always add another cornerback, maybe a slot guy. And I do think we should get another inside linebacker. Now, we did sign Patrick Queen. We do have Cole Holcomb, but he had a gruesome injury. Landon Roberts is up there in age. And we didn't sign Quan Alexander again. And I obviously think we need another free safety because whenever Minka goes down, and he went down a couple times this year, we get torn apart in the pass game. I think we obviously need to address those needs, but we'll see what happens in this mock draft. So in round one, I went ahead and picked 6'7", 340-pound offensive tackle out of Georgia, Amarius Mims. Now, as a Georgia fan, I would love to see him play for the Steelers. Mims is a big guy. I think he would have natural chemistry with Broderick Jones. Also, having Darnell Washington and George Pickens there would be helpful for his development. I do think the injury history might allow him to slip to us at 20, but we'll just have to see. But I think he'd be the perfect fit for the long-term right tackle solution. He's a natural right tackle, so we could easily move Broderick to the left, have Amarius at the right. And he doesn't have to start this season. Like I said, we do have Dan Moore. And I was impressed with Dan Moore last season. We don't immediately have to put him in the starting position just like we didn't with Broderick. And I think that would be great for him. So in round two, to address our receiver needs, I went ahead and picked up Xavier Legette, big wide receiver out of South Carolina. Now this guy, he's got speed. He can get the deep ball. Most of his, highlights, his touchdowns are just deep ball catches, which I think is great. And I think the Steelers this year, we didn't really have the production we wanted at the receiver position outside of Pickens. Just bringing in a new younger guy. I mean, Xavier Legette, he's got first round talent written all over him. I do think his route running could become a little bit more defined, but in terms of just having a guy on the other side of the field for Russell Wilson or Justin Fields to throw to, I think he's the perfect pickup. So in round 3, I went ahead and picked up Jeremiah Trotter Jr., starting linebacker out of Clemson. He's been there for a few years now, son of former, I think, Eagles legend Jeremiah Trotter. This is a guy, he's sideline to sideline linebacker. I think he's a field general. He's good in pass coverage. He just kind of knows, when you watch his film, he knows exactly where to be at all times. Having him, just maybe sit a year under Patrick Queen, if Cole Holcomb can come back by the beginning of the season, or just sit under that Elandon Roberts type of guy, I think Jeremiah Trotter would be a great pickup. Hopefully he's there for us in round 3. Now, obviously, the Steelers need a center with the release of Mason Cole. A lot of fans want us to go with a Jackson Powers Johnson or one of the other top-rated centers. Now, in this mock draft, I waited until round 3 to go get our center, Bo Limmer out of Arkansas. He's not a top-rated center, but I think if he can sit another year, I think we still need to go get a veteran center. And if he can sit for maybe, a portion of the season and just learn, I think this would be a great value pick for us in the 3rd round. This guy is 6'5", 307 pounds. You watch his film, he's great in the run game. That's what we need at a center. If we're going to be a run-dominant team, we've got Najee and Warren. I think a guy like him would be perfect for us. So in round 4, I addressed our D-line needs with Leonard Taylor out of Miami. Now this guy, again, D-line is not the most prettiest position, but, he fills all the gaps well. He's just always in the right position. I think he's just a good guy, good depth guy for maybe his first or 2 seasons, but I think him along Keanu and maybe an aging Cam Hayward late in the season, you could see him really shine for us. So in round 6, this is probably a popular pick for many people doing their mock drafts. Luke McCaffrey, wide receiver out of Rice. If you look at the Steelers roster, it's really George Pickens, Calvin Austin, Quez Watkins, and Van Jefferson. Now, I like Calvin, but I don't really want him to be our primary slot guy. Quez Watkins and Van Jefferson, I don't think they're long-term solutions. But I do think a guy like McCaffrey, younger brother of, Christian McCaffrey, I do think he would be a great value pick at round 6. Now, he might go higher, just depending on how other teams rate him. I do think if, we had a George Pickens on one side, Xavier to get on the other side, and McCaffrey to work the middle, and you can also throw Calvin in that middle, but I do think for our primary slot guy, I think Luke McCaffrey would be a great pick. And with our last pick of the draft, I went ahead and picked James Williams, big 6'5", 215-pound safety out of Miami. Now, this is probably my favorite pick of this draft. I mean, if we can find a way to get this guy, I would be very happy. He's a hard hitter. He's great in coverage, but most importantly, man, he stops the run. You look at his film. He's not afraid to tackle. And I feel like a lot of these guys in today's NFL are afraid to hit and afraid to tackle. So I think you bring in a guy like James Williams, you mesh him with Minkah Fitzpatrick, you mesh him with Deshaun Elliott. I think he can really learn and grow. This guy is 6'5". You don't really come across that many 6'5" defensive backs. He probably could play a little inside linebacker if we wanted to. He's long, so I don't really fear him in one-on-one coverage. I think he can hold up just nice. He doesn't have to start. His first season, we do have Minkah. So this is a guy who can come in and learn, sit a while. But I think this will be a great pick in our last, our 6th round for us. So let me know what you think of my mock draft. How would you rate it? I would give me a grade B+ or A-. I think we addressed most of our needs. I think we got some great value, especially in those later rounds. Like I said, it's a mock draft, so you can never really take these things seriously. You never really know what's going to happen. But like I said, if you like this video, comment down below if you want to see more. And yeah, go Steelers.